The disciples gathered beneath the Bodhi tree, eager to hear the Buddha's wisdom. Their hearts brimmed with questions and anticipation. Among them, Ananda sat, troubled by anger that gnawed at his peace. He approached the Buddha with a bowed head, seeking guidance. "Master," Ananda said, "my heart burns with anger like a fire that refuses to be quenched." The Buddha regarded Ananda with calm eyes, his presence soothing as a tranquil lake. He gestured for Ananda to sit and began his teaching. "Ananda," the Buddha said, "imagine a man holding a red-hot coal in his hand, intending to throw it at another." His voice was soft but carried profound weight, like the rhythm of ancient wisdom. "Does the man not burn his hand before he hurls the coal?" Ananda nodded, his face reflecting the dawning realization. The sun rises each morning, unwavering in its duty to bring light. Its essence is unchanging, eternal, and reliable. Anger, my dear Ananda, is like that red-hot coal, the Buddha continued. It harms the one who holds it most. The disciples leaned in closer, the weight of his words anchoring their restless minds. We cling to anger, nurturing its heat, unaware of the suffering it inflicts upon ourselves. In its glow, one finds the quiet wisdom of stillness. Buddha paused, allowing their thoughts to simmer in the depths of reflection. "Ananda," he said, "peace is not found in the transformation of others, but in the transformation of oneself." His words echoed like ripples across a still pond, reaching the hearts of all present. Another disciple, Megha, added her thoughts, considering how life challenges frequently obscure the clarity required to recognize trustworthy individuals. The Buddha nodded in agreement and gently placed his hands upon his knees, his posture embodying calm wisdom's steady strength. "Do not feed anger with thoughts of resentment," the Buddha said. "Starve it of attention, and it shall wither like an untended flame." The disciples exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting the blossoming of comprehension. Ananda looked up, his face softening as the burden of anger began to ease. "Master," he said, "how does one starve anger when it feels so overwhelming, so consuming?" The Buddha picked up a leaf from the ground and held it before him. "Ananda," he said, "imagine this leaf is your anger, light and fleeting in nature." He let the leaf fall from his fingers, its descent graceful and unresisted. "Let go of anger as you would release a leaf to the wind. Do not clutch it, for it is not yours to keep." The leaf landed softly on the earth, a symbol of the peace that comes with release. "Indeed," affirmed the Buddha, "truthful individuals' virtues shine consistently like stars illuminating vast skies indifferent to turbulent storms below. Remain mindful of virtues expressed during adversities and observe whether reliability becomes discernible within repeated patterns woven through lifetimes. Anger arises from the illusion of control," he said, "the belief that the world should align with our desires." He gestured to the flowing river nearby, its waters glistening with the light of acceptance. "The river does not fight its course, nor does it cling to the stones it passes. Be like the river, Ananda, and flow with life without resistance." Another day dawned, the golden sunlight spilling over the monastery's peaceful courtyards as disciples assembled for the Buddha's teachings. The morning air carried the soft fragrance of blossoming flowers, and the gentle hum of nature filled the serene atmosphere. The Buddha, seated beneath a magnificent Bodhi tree, surveyed his eager disciples with a serene yet deeply compassionate gaze. "Compassion," he began, "is the lifeblood of trust. Strive not, Ananda, but simply be. Peace is not a destination, but the natural state of an unburdened heart." The disciples bowed deeply before the Buddha, their reverence flowing from the depths of their souls. The Bodhi tree stood tall and unwavering, its leaves rustling with the echoes of enlightenment. "Truth is the light within all hearts." Another disciple, Suttapathaka, spoke earnestly. though she had little herself. Sujata took what she could and began preparing simple meals for her struggling neighbors. Her small offerings of food, shared without expectation, sparked hope where sorrow once lingered like shadows in the dusty streets. The Buddha sat in stillness, his presence a beacon of compassion and wisdom. As the world continued its ceaseless dance, the teachings of the Buddha resonated through the ages, a timeless guide to the ultimate way of letting go of anger. And in the hearts of those who listened, the seeds of peace were sown, ready to bloom in the garden of life. Another day, the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, his gaze fixed upon the flowing river nearby. The disciples assembled quietly, their hearts seeking clarity and solace in his teachings. Among them stood a merchant, his face shadowed by bitterness and resentment. He bowed before the Buddha and spoke, "Master, my heart is troubled by a rival who has wronged me deeply." The Buddha listened intently, his presence serene like the still waters of a tranquil pond. "Come forward," he said, gesturing to the merchant with an open hand. The merchant approached, his footsteps heavy with the weight of his anger. The Buddha reached for a cup beside him, its surface glimmering in the sunlight. He poured water into the cup and held it before the merchant. Rahula's expression softened, his furrowed brow unwrapping as realization glimmered faintly in his eyes. "Master, how can we ensure we return to truth consistently?" Buddha's voice resonated through the still air. "Practice mindfulness, embrace compassion, and accept impermanence. These are the paths leading to the eternal origin. The one who holds the cup suffers." "Master," he replied, his voice tinged with hesitation. The Buddha nodded, his expression one of gentle affirmation. "Indeed," he said, "anger is like that cup of poison. In carrying it, you harm only yourself, not your rival." The merchant's eyes widened as the weight of the Buddha's wisdom began to settle within him. "But, Master," he said, "how can I let go of anger when the injustice remains unaddressed?" The Buddha smiled, his presence warm and soothing like the morning sun upon a cold landscape. "To release anger is to free yourself," he said. Regardless of whether the injustice is resolved, he placed the cup upon the ground and gestured to the river once more. "Observe the river," he said, "how it flows without resistance, accepting the stones and debris along its path." The disciples followed his gaze, their minds attuned to the harmony of nature that mirrored the Buddha's teachings. "Be like the river, merchant," the Buddha continued, "and flow with life without clinging to the past." The merchant lowered his head, humbled by the depth of the Buddha's wisdom. "Master," he said, "your words are like the gentle breeze that lifts the heaviness from my heart. How shall I begin to release anger?" The Buddha raised a hand, his fingers tracing the contours of the horizon where the sun met the earth. "Begin by observing anger as you would a passing cloud," he said, acknowledging its presence without becoming entangled in its form. The disciples nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting the light of understanding that began to dawn within their hearts. "Anger thrives on attention," the Buddha continued, "but starve it of your energy, and it shall dissolve like mist before the morning sun." The merchant closed his eyes, his mind reflecting on the Buddha's words like sunlight upon the rippling waters. "Master," he said, "I see now that anger is a burden I carry, not a weapon against my rival. How shall I cultivate peace in its place?" The Buddha gestured to the fertile soil beneath the Bodhi tree, his movements deliberate and infused with purpose. "The mind is a field," he said. "Whatever seed you plant within it shall grow and bear fruit." He picked up a handful of earth, its texture rich and life-giving in nature. "Plant seeds of compassion, patience, and understanding," he said, "and peace shall blossom like the flowers that adorn the valley." The disciples exchanged glances, their hearts united in the shared journey toward enlightenment. The merchant bowed deeply before the Buddha, his gesture one of gratitude and reverence. "Master," he said, "your teachings are the light that dispels the darkness within my heart." Dharmapala observed their strife with compassion, his heart aching at the sight of harmony disintegrating under the weight of scarcity. He sat beneath a large banyan tree and invited the villagers to gather, offering his wisdom to resolve their disputes. "Do not strive," he said, "but simply be. Peace is the natural state of the heart unburdened by anger." The merchant departed, his steps lighter than when he had arrived, his mind unshackled from the chains of resentment. The disciples remained, their minds reflecting upon the timeless wisdom imparted by the Buddha. Through his wisdom, Dharmapala guided them to establish an agreement that ensured equitable water distribution, restoring trust among neighbors, his ability to detach from personal gain and perceive the broader picture earned him the trust of the entire village. The night descended upon the world, its silence enveloping the hearts of all who had listened. The Buddha sat in stillness, his presence a beacon of compassion and wisdom as the universe continued its ceaseless dance. His teachings resonated across time, guiding all who sought the ultimate way to let go of anger. And in the hearts of those who listened, the seeds of peace were sown, ready to bloom in the garden of life. Another day, the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, the morning sun casting golden rays upon the gathered disciples. Their hearts resonated with the wisdom of past teachings, ready to receive more guidance from the Enlightened One. Among them was a woman named Sujata, her face etched with worry and inner turmoil. She approached the Buddha and bowed deeply, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Master," she said, "I struggle with anger toward those who reject my kindness and repay it with harm." The Buddha listened with unwavering calm, his eyes reflecting the compassion that embraced all beings. He gestured for Sujata to sit beside him, the cool earth welcoming her presence. "Sujata," he said, "the heart that gives without expectation is a heart freed from the chains of disappointment." The disciples leaned in, captivated by the gentle wisdom that flowed from their master like a clear stream. The Buddha reached for a small sapling that grew nearby, its leaves tender and vibrant with life. He touched its fragile stem and spoke again. "This sapling does not demand rain or sunshine, yet it grows, accepting whatever life offers," he said. "It is the light within the mind," he continued, "that reveals the interconnectedness of all beings and the truth of their nature. With detachment comes the ability to serve others selflessly, fostering trust that transcends the fleeting bonds of superficial connection." "Master," she said, "how can one overcome anger when faced with repeated rejection and cruelty?" The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, the serenity of his presence offering comfort to all who watched. "Anger arises from the desire for control. Sujata," he said, "release the need to change others, and you shall find peace within." He pointed to the flowing river, its waters gliding gracefully over rocks and debris in its path. "Observe the river," he said, "how it embraces all that it encounters without resistance or judgment." The disciples followed his gaze, the harmony of nature mirroring the essence of his teachings. "Be like the river, Sujata," the Buddha continued, "and flow with life, letting go of what you cannot control." Sujata lowered her head, the burden of anger beginning to lift as the Buddha's words enveloped her like a soothing embrace. "Master," she said, "I understand now that peace lies in acceptance, not in the transformation of others. How shall I practice this?" The Buddha gestured to the fertile soil beneath the Bodhi tree, his movements imbued with intention and purpose. "Practice by cultivating the seeds of compassion and patience," he said. "Nurture them daily, and they shall bear the fruit of lasting peace." He reached for a handful of earth, its texture rich and life-giving, and allowed it to fall gently through his fingers. "Remember, Sujata, the heart is like a garden. It thrives with care and withers with neglect. The disciples exchanged glances. Their hearts united in the shared journey toward enlightenment and understanding. The Buddha turned his gaze toward the horizon, where the sun continued its ascent with unhurried grace. When anger arises, observe it as a passing cloud, he said. Acknowledge its presence but do not let it darken your sky. His words resonated like ripples upon still waters, reaching the minds and souls of all who listened. Anger cannot root in a heart that is open, the Buddha said. For openness dispels the shadows that seek refuge within. Sujata raised her head, her eyes reflecting newfound clarity and the light of understanding. Master, she said, your teachings are the balm that soothes my wounded heart. Buddha's words lingered within them, inspiring reflection and resolve. Hold stillness within your hearts as the lake holds clarity. Strive not, Sujata, he said, but simply allow peace to arise naturally. As the flower blooms without force, the disciples bowed deeply before the Buddha, their gestures filled with reverence and gratitude for his timeless wisdom. The Bodhi tree stood tall and unwavering, its leaves rustling with the echoes of enlightenment that flowed from the Master. Sujata walked away with a lighter step, her heart embracing the peace she had sought for so long. The day unfolded with tranquility, the teachings of the Buddha resonating through the hearts of those who gathered beneath the Bodhi tree. The sun painted the sky with hues of serenity, a reflection of the harmony that filled the disciples' souls. The Buddha remained seated, his presence a beacon of compassion and wisdom. As the world continued its ceaseless dance, the stars emerged in the night sky, twinkling like the eternal truths of the universe, each one a reminder of infinite possibilities. Suddenly, a disciple named Upali approached, his expression filled with doubt. Master, I feel restless, as if happiness always eludes me. Why does life seem empty at times? Buddha turned to Upali, his eyes shining with wisdom and compassion. Upali, happiness is not a destination to reach, but a path you walk each moment of your life. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.